Listen up, my fellow coaches and leaders. The truth is, we all need a space to learn and grow so we can bust through our personal glass ceilings and step into our full potential, especially if we want to create the space to allow others to step into theirs. And that's where I come in. I'm not just a former clinical psychologist, but also a seasoned dream life and business coach with over 2 decades of experience helping people shatter their personal barriers and unleash their greatness. And here's the thing, you don't have to figure this all out on your own. As a heart-centered entrepreneur or industry leader, you deserve the best tools and strategies to help you and your business thrive. And that's why I'm excited to share my experience with you through the Coaching for Coaches podcast. Utilizing powerful combination of clinical skills, quantum physics, and strength-based coaching methods, I'll show you exactly what to do and exactly what to say to unleash your true potential and create a path for your clients to follow. And not just that, I'll also teach you how to build a thriving coaching business around your unique skill set and passions. So let's get started. It's time to answer your calling, make a lasting impact on the world, and create a lucrative living doing exactly what you love. Welcome to the Coaching for Coaches podcast, where greatness begins. Welcome to the Coaching for Coaches live hot seat coaching. My name is Denise Walsh, and after coaching for the past 20 years, I now teach other coaches how to not only level themselves up to experience their own dream life, to heal through their own hurts, release the onion layers, and truly level up to become all that God has created them to be. But while they do that, they create life-changing programs for those in their niche. And so the Coaching for Coaches Facebook group truly is about 2 things. Number 1, you becoming your best self, right? You becoming the person that you know you can be, you tapping in to your spark, for you to have the courage to say yes to your dreams, but then also learning the skills to become a confident coach that helps other people to get results as well. So for those of you who are listening live, be sure to say your name, where you're from. If you're listening to the replay, please share #replay. And I love to come back and take a listen to all of your comments. So with that being said, I have a hot seat guest today. She's a new dream life coach, and I'll let her share a bit of her story. But what I love is that she had been thinking about, dreaming about, this spark was something that came to her over and over and over again. And I often say that your spark is only going to get louder until you take full action on it. And so the more that you say yes to your spark, like the house starts to show up. And so for her, she was thinking about creating a program and writing a book and sharing her story for years. And she said yes to the Dream Life Certification and Business Program this January. And since then, the how has started to show up for her. So big dream welcome, or coaches welcome, to Kim Utterback. And the crowd goes wild. Hey, Kim.
Hi, Denise.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Before we jump into today's powerful exercise, I know that this was not a quick decision for you. You've actually been stirring for quite a while, and it wasn't until January where you finally jumped in with both feet on this dream. So tell us a bit about what had been stirring for you.
Well, so my husband had a cardiac arrest in 2012. It'll be 11 years at the end of this month. And with that, he had 94 minutes of CPR. Miracle story in and of itself. And because he was down for so long, he suffered an anoxic brain injury. Doesn't really make any sense. He has issues with memory, sometimes processing if there's too much. And I didn't know what as I was praying for this miracle for my husband to be resurrected, and he was, I didn't really know what that was going to mean. And, I was in healthcare, I was a nurse, and all of my peers and my cohorts were saying, oh my gosh, you've got a new normal. And it was just like nails on a chalkboard, because I didn't want a new normal. I mean, we were getting ready to be empty nesters in 5 years. We were going to go be nurses traveling all over the world and living in our bikinis during the day and being nurses at night. And all of a sudden that was all gone. And I didn't realize the impact of that. I didn't have any clue. And so going across all these 10 years, it kept being laid upon my heart that, yes, I was supposed to be a nurse. Yes, I'm nurturing, blah, 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 but I wasn't really living out my purpose. And when all of that happened, somebody said, Kim, gosh, what do you do when something like that happens? I said, I did the only thing that I knew to do, and I just fell to my knees and I just completely turned to God. And so what started on my journey that I started was really just trying to figure out, I didn't know why any of this happened, but what was I supposed to be doing with it? What was I supposed to do with the purpose? Why was he still here? Why were we living this new normal? And what do I do with that? And the things that I learned was that, God didn't ever promise us that things were going to be perfect. There were going to be trials and tribulations. He promised he would be there with us, but that those trials and tribulations that we go through are for his glory. And so I wanted to make sure that I was honoring that and not just going through this new normal to sit on the couch every night and watch TV with him, because that was our new normal. So we got to about the year 2020, and it was the year of the nurse, believe it or not. COVID hit, and I was going to work crying every single day. I knew this wasn't what I was supposed to do. I knew it. And as I got deeper into that, and I knew I was supposed to be writing a book, and I just kept pushing that off, I started looking for basically someone to mentor me, for a life coach, and had found a couple of people that I really was kind of interested in, but I was really seeking somebody that I could have a relationship with, that would know me and would know the story of my life, and felt more like a friend than just somebody on the other side of a screen that was like, oh yeah, it's you. I got to go. I got another one. And so through that and deciding, I found you, because I was looking for a dog that I was never going to be able to buy, because my husband said, no, we're not getting a new dog. And I found you and I connected. And it was just simply from that one phone call talking to you that I did feel that connection with you. And while we're miles apart, it was like you just had that spirit that connected with mine, but that also told me you had the same mindset, and you had the same goals, and you had the same values and the same outlook on life that I did. And it was like, okay. And I just jumped in with both feet. I'm one of those people that I buy a new shirt and I have buyer's remorse. And it's like, oh, should I have done that? Do I really need that? And I didn't have any buyer's remorse. So I knew that I was exactly where I needed to be and what I needed to be doing. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to help other women who were in my situation, who had unexpectedly found them as this full-time caregiver for somebody with a brain injury. I wanted to help them find community and find joy in the journey. Because while the dance has changed, it doesn't mean the dance isn't still good. It's just changed. And you really have to wrap your mind around that and go, it doesn't matter that I can't ever find my favorite spatula because it's always in a different drawer every time I go to cook. That doesn't matter. What matters is he did the dishes and then he's here to talk to me while I'm cooking. But it takes a mindset to go, I can't get mad about that. I can't get mad about that.
Right. Right. Well, thank you for sharing your story. And yeah, it was a huge life change. And so while you are focused on taking care of him and making sure that he's okay and all the new things that are, like behaviorally or physically with your family, there was a piece of you that had to take care of yourself and had to go through the grief process and truly allow yourself to grieve and understand and process through it all. And so because of your experience, it sounds like you want to go to those who are maybe 3 steps behind you, or they're experiencing their life-altering traumatic event, so to speak, and someone in their family has a brain injury or an accident or a heart attack, and now life has changed for them, and you want to help support them on their journey as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's interesting because that whole grief thing, I was having some of my closest, dearest friends who are my support system tell me, Kim, you don't have to always be happy. You don't have to support everybody. You don't have to be the moral barometer of morale for everybody. And in those probably the first 5 years, I grieved, but just a little bit. I didn't allow myself to grieve because I literally was walking into a room to tell my husband goodbye when they said, he's got a heartbeat. And at that point, when it's like, oh my gosh, miracles, I've had prayers answered. I mean, praises go up, right? I don't have any right to be sad or depressed or angry or frustrated or bargain. I don't have a right to do any of that because I just have been given my husband back, and I'm just going to be full of praise and blessing and live in this place of eternal gratitude. But I really shortchanged myself because it took me a few years to realize that when I was in school and I learned about death and dying, it was Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, and it was all over the loss of a person, and you go through the 5 stages, and suddenly I'm like, well, I haven't lost anybody. Why am I grieving? But we grieve any kind of loss. And it's whether it's a loss of a dream or a loss of a marriage or a loss, a true death loss, or a loss of something that causes you pain and trauma. It doesn't matter. You still have to go through that. And it took me at least 5 to 6 years to figure that out. And it really took me going through the first 90-day U-turn to go, wow, I've never been angry. I've never been mad about this. And I can be mad about this. It's okay. That's not dishonoring to God or anything along the way. I just had all these thoughts and these hopes and these dreams, and dang it, I'm mad about it. And so I don't want people to go through that, because until you can release yourself from that, you can't find joy in the journey.
Right.
You can't move forward.
So how does becoming a Dream Life coach support you in creating a program to support other women going through similar things?
Oh, wow. So in ways that I didn't even think. I thought, I'm going to come into this, and I've been a student for my whole entire life, and I can study and I can learn, and I've had a lot of psychology with my nursing, and I can do all that. What I didn't realize was the impact of the community, and that would end up being even bigger in helping me go down this my second career than learning anything. And when I first got married, I had somebody say to me, because I had 3 stepkids right away, and it was some of the best advice I ever got. And she said to me, you need to make sure that you find somebody who's in your same situation, that you can talk to, that you can be validated by, because when I sent 3 little girls to school in one outfit on a Monday morning, and then I don't ever see that outfit again, as a new mom, that really upsets me. It's like, I have these clothes, so you look pretty. None of that matters. But it mattered to me at the time. My husband, it didn't matter to. These are his 3 precious little girls. The little girls were just excited. We had clothes, but he needed community that I could go to and say, oh my gosh, can you believe this? And nobody else was hurt by any of it. And I could have somebody say, I know, I get it. I get mad about that too. And then I'm like, okay, I can move on from that now. So that community, and especially when you're taking care of somebody that has suffered something like a brain injury, and you do get frustrated because where is my spatula? In the whole scheme of things, that doesn't matter. It's hard for me today. I just need somebody to say, I know, I get mad at that. Girl, you are right on. That is so frustrating. And then I'm like, okay, well, I'm okay. I'm not a bad person for feeling that way. Let's move on. And that's what that community does. And that's what I want to give to other women, is that community, to be able to have that safe place and that space to say, you want to know what I'm so mad about? I know, however menial it seems, or ridiculous or juvenile, there's still feelings, and it's okay.
So it sounds like going through the program not only gave you content that you can duplicate, but it gave you like a community, a program, a kind of process that you can duplicate as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's just there, you can't even put a price on that. You just really can't.
Well, and I love what you said, to find people who are doing what you want to do and hang out with them, right? So every week or twice, every week we meet for 90-day U-turn, twice a month we meet for the coaches calls, and you're meeting with people who are writing their books, who are putting their programs together, who are starting their communities, and to like be able to connect with those people who are doing it keeps us filled, doesn't it?
Totally. And you have that support. I remember that we were doing a breakout session during one of our days, and I was with Shada, and we're talking about what do I want? And I said to her, she had done her thing, and I said to her, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to say it. This totally goes against everything that I think is right and normal, but I'm just going to say it. I go, I want to make $1 million. And she looked at me and she went, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to make $1 million too, but I didn't want to say it out loud. I went, I know. And it's like, why can't I say that? And it was being with these women that were all like-minded. We all thought the same thing. And it's like, well, why can't we say we want to make $1 million? And suddenly it was like, well, I can say that, and I'm totally free. And all these people want to make it too. And I think that when we were at our retreat, and another one of my little moments came as we were talking about that, and somewhere along the line, something about 3 million came out of your mouth, and I don't remember what it was, and I'm like, 3
just
million?
Dream bigger. Just got a new brain cell. Yeah, I love it. And that's exactly why being, again, solopreneurship is for the birds. We don't need to be in our office by ourselves going, what should I do today? When you're around a community and have been given a roadmap on what to do next and accountability for making it happen, you will do way, way more than you ever would on your own. So you picked up one of my favorite exercises to work through today. And the one reason why I think this is perfect is because not only is it a powerful exercise, but it's also something that you'll be weaving into your program as well. Because like you mentioned, when you're a caregiver, it can be easy to put your needs and your emotions second, put it on the back burner, kind of stuff it down, and not even really realize what your body is experiencing. Because we all know that when you stuff your emotions, they don't go away, right? They just become a big soccer ball underneath the rug here. And so during 90-day U-turn and the program that you're creating, you're giving these women a space to process some of that hurt, some of that change, some of that grief. And so the process that we're going to go through today is the questions to process guilt. And I'm going to just walk you through some of the questions that we'll process live here. And the goal of this exercise is to release what we call an onion layer, right? It's an onion layer. This is not necessarily a flip of the switch. This is an onion layer where, meaning, the next time the spatula is in a different spot, you might not be as triggered. And you'll just go, oh, where's the spatula today? Let's play a game. And the same life situations may happen, but it's not going to bother you so much because you've been working on healing the triggers. And so the questions to process guilt are really about allowing yourself to take, letting yourself off the hook, taking a look at where you're still maybe beating yourself up about the shoulds, the coulds, the would'ves, the expectations that you have that maybe you didn't live up to because life changed, situations changed, and all of that kind of stuff. So if we were to, well, I guess I'll ask you before we jump in, why did you choose this exercise? Why is this a powerful exercise for you?
Probably one of the reasons it's powerful for me is because I think it's just because of the fact that I'm a woman, and as women, we all think that we have to be super women, superheroes, and do it all right. And we beat ourselves up so much. It's like, oh my gosh, was I nice enough when I picked up my kids today? Was I present? And you just beat yourself up. You beat yourself up about everything. There's so much mom guilt. And when TJ was able to spar back and forth with me, I didn't have to have all that guilt. Right now, at this point, he doesn't argue with me. He is the most gentle, wonderful, sweet man in the whole entire world. He's like, I don't know where the spatula is. I'm really sorry. It's like, that's not what I wanted. I wanted you to spar back with me. And so I again, as I've gone through these past 10 years, I've realized that I'm really good at asking God for forgiveness and repenting and saying, I'm so sorry. And yeah, one and done, and it's over and done with, and you move on. You've received it and you moved on. But I don't give that to myself. I keep picking it back up and picking it back up and picking it back up. I feel bad about this. Okay, Kim, get over it. I pick it back up. And I think that I know that's the way I'm wired. And I think a lot of moms are wired that way, is that I can't let myself off the hook. It's like, let yourself off the hook.
So when you did this exercise, did you
Yeah.
feel a bit of a release?
I feel the release every single time that I do this. And then I'll be really good. And it's like, suddenly I pick it back up again. And it's like,
And now
no,
you have a tool that you can use.
yes. Yes. And then eventually it gets better, and you find yourself in that place, and it's like, Kim, don't get mad. It's not the end of the world. It's no big deal. Just go create something fun. Go on a hunt. Let's see who can find it first. Turn it
Well,
around.
and I think if you don't have these tools, then it just layers and layers and layers and builds up and builds up and builds up. But when you
Mhm.
have these tools, you can have that triggered emotion, but now know how to work through it.
Right. Right.
So let's go through this exercise. It's called the Questions to Process Guilt. This is available within the Clinical Skills Library in the Dream Life Certification Program. And so the first question is what expectation did you violate or fail to live up to?
For me, the expectation that I violated was that I am not perfect. I am not that soap opera wife, mom, perfect person that I have conjured in my head that I should be.
And what is unrealistic about that expectation?
Oh, that's not even possible. I mean, perfection is it's not possible for any of us. So for me to think that I'm going to rise above that and be perfect is just, it's preposterous. It's ridiculous.
Right. So it's an expectation that's not ever reachable.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
So what is the underlying assumption or belief that is at the core of that expectation?
I think for me, when I was growing up, I have the most wonderful parents. My dad's passed away, but I had the most wonderful parents. But part of their growing up in the 50s and 60s is that you don't air your dirty laundry. And what I have found is that now it's very apparent on social media, but it's always kind of been the case. People don't tell you what's really going on. And it's not in behind closed doors. They present that we've got this wonderful life and everything is great. And it's like, I'm failing at everything because I don't live in this world that you guys live in. And I thought I was probably a failure. And even through this and not really knowing anybody who had this situation, it's like, oh my gosh, nobody else is getting mad at their husband. Nobody else is feeling this way. I'm a bad person. I am not nice. I got to get my act together.
So there's a bit of comparison happening because we see the facade of everybody else and then thinking that we're not living up to that.
Right. Right.
Okay. So how can you change that? Can you change the past behavior or that past assumption or expectation that you had?
I can't change my past behavior. I can't change anything that happened in the past, but I can definitely learn from it and grow from it.
So how can you reframe the situation with this new lens?
One way, and I think there's multiple ways, but I know one way is to give myself some grace and realize that there's not really much like when you get kids, there's not a manual that comes with them. And much like situations like this, there's not a manual. There's nothing for me to read and go, oh, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this. We learn from our failures. And a lot of it is learning by trial and error. And then it comes into that mindset of just being really present and realizing that my mind is stronger than anything else. And I just have to get myself to that point of realizing that I'm going to make a mistake. I'm not going to be perfect, and it will happen again. But I have the tools, I have what I need, I have the strength, and I can get better. I can grow.
You're right. There's no manual that says, here's the how to
Mm-mm.
thrive
No,
in a
not.
situation like this. So the only way to learn it is by walking through it and learning as you go. So I want you to kind of complete this sentence. Dear Kim, I am angry that.
I am angry that I have expected so much of you that's been unfair and unrealistic.
I feel I made mistakes that impacted my life and others because
I didn't give myself grace. I didn't give myself forgiveness. I didn't give myself the freedom to basically learn from my errors, to mess up, to hurt people unintentionally.
I'm afraid that.
I'm afraid that I will always continue to do that if I don't cut myself some slack and I don't face up to the fact that I don't have to be perfect and nobody's expecting me to be perfect.
And then I'm sorry that.
I'm sorry that I have put all of this undue pressure on you that was self-inflicted. Nobody else expected it.
I wish that.
I wish that I don't have regrets. I don't wish for do-overs. I wish that I could, I do wish I could do a Men in Black pin and take away any hurt feelings that I've done. You don't remember it.
And I forgive myself now because.
And I forgive myself now because I am growing. I am learning. There is purpose to all of this. And as long as I continue to move forward and live out the purpose, it's all going to be worth it. And it's all the way it was supposed to be.
Awesome. The lesson I learned throughout this experience was?
Nothing is in our control.
So hold on to everything with loose hands, open hearts, loose hands.
Yep. Yep.
And then repeat after me. Forgiveness is a choice I make for myself. And now that I have made it, I am free.
Forgiveness is a choice that I make for myself. And now that I am forgiven, I am free.
Amen.
Amen. Which feels so good.
Release the onion layer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Feels so good.
Yeah. So how does it feel to process through it? And you guys, this is really important because there's one thing to think it in your head. It's another thing to write it down. And a third thing to actually say it out loud. So tell me about the differences for you.
Yeah, thinking it in your head, you can just kind of think it and then keep on moving on. And okay, nobody hears it. Nobody knows. You can write it down. And I like writing things down because I do think that helps. And then you can go back and look at it and refer to it. The thing that I like about speaking it out loud, and especially speaking it out loud to another person, is that now it's out there. Now you can't really go, oh, I take that all back. It's out there. And then when you do that with people who you're in community with, when you do that again, they catch you and they hold you accountable and say, oh, let's stop. Let's reframe that. Words matter. Let's just step back. You're not bad because you got mad, but let's figure out how to do it better next time, or do it different next time.
Right. Right. When you speak, it actually shifts you on a cellular level. And so it releases some of those stuck emotions that have been piling up in your body. And so that's why you can feel rejuvenated after a good cry, or after a letter like this, or ripping up, or like actually acknowledging the thing that you've been thinking or feeling for years, but not actually saying, because it certainly impacts you on that physical level, which is a really, really powerful thing. Writing helps it go from one side of the brain to the other. So writing is really powerful in terms of making it from like frontal lobe. I'm like reliving it all the time to maybe memory where, oh yeah, I forgot I broke my arm once, you know? And so there's really, it's important to do all three steps, which is why we meet and we talk, and we aren't just an e-course, and you're creating a community with your program as well. So we have this time and this space created to actually process through and heal through some of these tough emotions.
So good.
So good. So what's next for Kim? You are working on your book, is that right?
I'm working on my book. Yes. And you are holding me accountable, which is, I mean, 11 years, why not? Never too late. So working on my book, and at the same time working on how to launch that and how to launch a group and figure out what my whole business is going to look like.
Yeah. Awesome. So what would you tell somebody who's had kind of that stirring that you've had? Like, all right, I've got a message to share to the world. I've got something to say. I want to write a book. I want to create a program. I want to help people who are maybe 3 steps behind me, right? That are experiencing something similar, but they don't really know where to turn and are feeling a bit stuck right now.
What I would say to them is go look for a dog and find Denise.
That's a very funny story, you guys. I was tagged in a post. But
you know
it's like
what?
one of those meant to be.
Exactly. What I would tell people is that we all deserve more than we give ourselves. And sometimes the best investment that you ever make is in yourself. And when you and I were on our Zoom call, and I said, okay, just cut the crap, get rid of the marketing face. I want you just to tell me, like you're talking to your sister, what do you think? And you said to me, when that still small voice just keeps stirring and stirring and stirring, you listen to it. And then you said, and I think the world needs what you've got to share. And we just shortchange ourselves. And we are all incredible, creative people. We're amazing. I mean, just to think about the human. And as I watched TJ's brain rewire over 11 years, it's phenomenal what we are as beings. And it's like, no, invest in yourself. If it keeps coming to you, quit questioning it, quit double checking yourself. Just invest in yourself.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Say yes. And we say often, right? As you take that first step, the how will start to show up.
And it does. It does.
It does. Well, you guys stay tuned to this group. We will absolutely be sharing Kim's book when it launches live in the next 6 months. It's exciting. Her goal is to have it out by Christmas. And so this is where you'll be able to hear and just stay up on all of the coaches' journeys, but specifically Kim. And if you've got anybody that you know that has had a traumatic brain injury or an upset like that, then absolutely refer Kim's book to them, because we all need to know that we're not alone. And I think, Kim, the louder you are about your story, the more hope you're giving to others. So let me take a look at the chat here and see if we've got any questions. Hey, Gabby. Hey, Tina. Hey, Audrey. Hey, Sada. Welcome. You've got a lot of fans listening live. So thank you so much, Kim, for sharing. If you guys are listening and you're interested in becoming a Dream Life coach, whether your niche is caregivers or teenagers or single moms or trauma survivors or, weight loss or health, whatever it is, the Dream Life content can help you get the best out of your clients, as it gives you exercises just like this that will help you align their dream life pathway, help you teach them to align their dream life pathway so they see powerful results. So put coach in the comments below and one of the team will reach out to you and we'll schedule a strategy call to see if the Dream Life certification and business program is perfect for you too. So thank you so much, Kim. Have an amazing night, and we'll see you guys all soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.